and welcome everyone to today's News Tonight, the weeknight news show where we're joined by special guests and our lovely patrons to discuss the day's gaming news. I'm your host, Derek Bentner, and as always, I'm joined by my good friends and GVG co-founders Ash Paulson and Steve Bowling, along with our very special guest, Nintendo Life's very own Zion Grassl. I almost got it.
You got it. Close enough.
Nice.
How you doing, Zion?
I'm good. I'm at the end of my work day now, so now I just get to chill and hang out with you guys, and it's great. I'm so excited. I'm glad to be here.
I am super happy that you're here, man. For those of you that don't know where I came from before YouTube, I was on Nintendo Life writing, and I got very interested in video, and that's how I ended up here today. But Zion was very much... I was so envious of him, because as soon as I left, they hired Zion, and I was like, damn it, I should have just waited. I could have done YouTube stuff there. But I'm happy with how everything turned out. I'm glad to be here, and Zion, you're absolutely killing it over at Nintendo Life. I'm so happy to see you, John, and Alex. I feel like the channel since the time that I was there, or on the editorial side of Nintendo Life, has changed so much and grown, and it just is like this whole new entity with you and John there, and I absolutely love watching your guys' stuff.
Thank you so much. And seriously, Steve, I owe so much credit to you as well, because I remember talking with Steve a lot in the beginning, and just being, because Nintendo Life was my first big step into the industry, I suppose. And I owe a huge thanks to Steve as well, just for being so cool and talking with me so much. And yeah, so thanks, man.
Oh, well, thank you. That is, I think it's so weird when people say anything like that about me. I'm like, I'm nobody. Don't worry about me. But I appreciate the kind words, and man, I gotta say I miss you guys. I miss your crew. Anytime we're in the same city, I try to find you and the rest of the Nintendo Life crew and say hi and hang out. And I remember the last E3 we were all at, we all just kind of hung out at the Airbnb and had a few drinks and ate pizza, and I was like,
nice.
Damn, I miss
that.
that.
Yeah, that was great. It was the first time getting to meet a lot of you guys, for me at least too, and it was so much fun.
And hopefully we'll get back to doing that soon with PAX West coming up. Crossing our fingers, it doesn't.
Well, that's the thing. Well, that's the interesting thing about PAX West. And, before I get to that, I don't want to get us too off topic. I do want to mention that, as always, usually it's Mondays, but we took Monday off because of the holiday. We're sponsored by The Game Orb. And The Game Orb is a fledgling channel that has focused mostly on Nintendo content until recently. While they're still running Let's Plays of Nintendo games like Splatoon 2 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, going forward, they're also covering games on the Xbox Series X like Portal Still Alive as part of a fresh daily upload schedule. So be sure to subscribe to The Game Orb at the link in the description, and I'm pretty sure Ash is probably going to post it in the chat as well.
I'm doing it right now.
And so let's get them. We're at 314 subscribers. We're going to wait to 350, and we'll continue to show them the GV Gang's support. But as always, they also want to promote their friend's YouTube channel, the Galactic Reaper, and you can find their link in our description and in the chat as well. So definitely give them a look, and a big thank you for their continued support. So always want to send that back their way.
The links are in the chat right now. So if you could please go show the Game Orb the love and power of the GV Gang and crank up that sub count, we would really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Game Orb, for all your amazing
Hell yeah. Thank you. You've been with us since the beginning. We appreciate you so much. And if just 10% of you watching right now, 1 out of every 10 people watching went and subbed to the Game Orb, we'd get them to their goal instantaneously. So please consider going over there, checking them out. They've been a huge supporter of GVG, and we want to show them that same support.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
But going back to PAX West, I don't know if you guys saw it today, but Fanbyte, who, good friend Imran, is over there, have announced that they're not going to PAX West because they don't have a system in place to to check if people are vaccinated or not. So them as a unit have decided not to go.
And I totally get that, and I think that it is a personal choice at this point. Obviously, I'm going. I miss being out in the field. I miss seeing the people that I have worked with for so many years. But I'm going to do it in the safest way possible. I mean, I'm vaccinated. I'm immune, but I'm still going to be wearing a mask. I'm still going to, and it's not just for my own safety, because I'm fairly confident at this point, following CDC guidelines, that I'd be fine. But it's also just out of respect for folks so that they don't have to wonder if I am or am not immune, just trying to make, because when I go into places, I'm like, yeah, technically I've been told I don't have to wear a mask anymore. But at the same time, those folks behind the counter at places, they don't know that,
Exactly.
and they still have a sign that says, hey, wear a mask. So I'm going to follow the rules. I'm going to wear a mask. I'm going to party it up with Ash in a safe way. But it's time for me to go back out, man. I need this. I will be honest.
I miss being in the field so much. Same as you, man. And I want to make it very clear. Like, I speak for Steve and I both when I say if we weren't vaccinated, we would not even be thinking of going. We're not going to put people at risk like that.
Yep.
It's only because we are both lucky enough to have been vaccinated and are so desperate to go see our friends and see each other as well and hang out together. And, it's going to happen. But it is a personal choice, and people have to do what is right for them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I'll be honest, I do wish that PAX did require it. We all, when you get that shot, you get that card. They could, if E3 can request my business card and my driver's license and my social security number and my home address.
And then they can give it away to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Like, drop my Vax card in a swag bag. I'm fine with that.
Right. And yes, Asami Re, it's true that vaccines don't make you fully immune, but they make you, mostly immune. And that's why Steve said, we're going to be wearing masks as well. We're not just going to be running around just going crazy, right? We're still going to be
not making out with everybody.
Exactly. We're not making out. Maybe we'll make out with each other, but other people, no.
Yeah. I mean, vaccinated people only.
Yeah.
Sorry, hun, if you're watching, I'm totally not going to do that. I'm lying.
Yes. Yeah.
Future bathtub stream.
Exactly. Wow. That would be the spiciest stream we've ever done.
Yes.
Zion, does Nintendo Life plan on going? Or you guys I know you guys are mostly Brits over there, but
right. We haven't. I guess I'm not aware if any of our U.S. correspondents are planning on going or not. I'm tossing around the idea, but I haven't actually even spoken with the rest of the team about it. Mostly, it's if I go, I think it might just be for my own sake, just to get out as well. I don't know if we'd be covering it or anything, or if I'd be there, on behalf of Nintendo Life. So at the moment, we don't know. But I'm also kind of in a weird position where I'm vaccinated, but I also, it just feels, it's not that it feels too early, but it does feel like there's so many people out there that we don't know who is vaccinated and who's going to play by the rules. And there's just a lot of questions still that it just, I don't know. It's just a weird time, I suppose. So.
It's also kind of a weird spot having covered or tried to cover multiple PAX West for Nintendo Life. There isn't a huge story that comes out of PAX West usually for, a Nintendo facing website. Like, I remember being there and going to the Nintendo meetings and being like, okay, well, this is all the E3 stuff again, and being like, how do I tell Damien and everyone else back there that I got nothing? But,
I mean, that's it. I guess that is the exciting part of this. If I'm not sure if they confirmed who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. But man, I would be extremely jealous if Nintendo all of a sudden announced, "Hey, we're going to have a Metroid Dread demo at PAX West that you can check out."
Right.
That's entirely possible. We did get an Animal Crossing New Horizons demo at PAX West.
If that happens, Derek, I will make sure that Steve and I both send you selfies of us playing the demo on the demo station.
Zion, are there any openings at Nintendo Life? Because that is betrayal right there.
I mean, you're great. You're all. I mean, you very specifically are great friends with John, right? So I mean, I'm pretty sure John can, at the very least, put in a great word for you.
Okay. Well, if they do that to me, I might be looking.
No big deal. Just playing Metroid Prime on an OLED Switch. Nothing to be.
As long as they bring you back a keychain or something, a poster, something.
Metroid Prime on an OLED Switch would be its own big story for playing that and Dread on an OLED Switch.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's true.
Right?
Metroid Prime 4 just shows up, no big deal. They bring their B games to PAX West.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we jump into the news, we got quite a few super chats. That's all kinds of support. First up is Jaden Buck with a $2 donation saying Xion's hair is epic. So
it is
looking good today.
Xion has always had a glorious mane.
Thanks.
Yes.
If anyone ever watches one of the videos that I'm in and I have a hat up, it means I'm having a really bad hair day. And
Dude, I do the
today
same
I felt
exact
bad.
thing. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Oh,
my
goodness.
fellow GVG co-founders will tell you I sometimes wear beanies, and I think I look good in beanies. But the secret reason is that I'm having a bad hair day, and it's getting to the point where I need to get it cut again too. It's getting a little bit shaggy.
That's great.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Next up is RC with a $5 donation. Says, excited to see Derek get into the Super Robot Wars series. Hope you like it. It seems like your jam. A new one was revealed in the Japanese E3 Direct as well. I had no idea about that. But yes, I do want to do another quick shout out to Eggroll for sending me Super Robot Wars V, the Singapore version, because that's actually in English. And
Nice.
I did get the chance to play, because there's no way this is never going to be localized with all the different Gundams and Evangelions in this one, Space
There's
Battleship
Ava's
Yamato.
in there?
What's that?
There's Ava's in there?
Oh, yeah. Look right
Oh
there.
my gosh,
You can
that's
see
sick.
Nice.
I do see it. That's amazing.
That's
I've
That is
only
really
played
cool.
the first 3 missions, but it's a good time, and I can see why people really like it. But it's really it seems pretty beefy because I'm 3 missions in, and I think there's 64 total. So it's like, sheesh. And that's not even including all the DLC. So it's a pretty beefy game. But yeah. I'll try to play it just on my own time, see how it goes, but not a lot of free time, but we'll see. Black Ninja with a $5 donation saying, before things get started, first, love both GVG and Nintendo Life, but Zion, who will you banish from GVG as you did Dixie Kong from the TV show? Oh my.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
He's right
On the
here.
spot.
What do you mean?
Oh, okay.
Did I
So
do
she's
that?
not really banished. She was just banished to your desk.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think when we did a Kong ranking video where we
Oh,
ranked
yeah.
every Kong, and
Oh,
it was
nice.
an hour long or something. We pulled in a
my.
bunch of the TV show ones, and I don't even remember. It was such a long day. I'm sorry for banishing her, but this is the most pure version of TV show Diddy Kong you will ever find, and this is still a stretch. So, but I could never banish any of you. Come on. I appreciate
Nice.
the donation though. That's very kind of you, and thanks for the love. But I couldn't.
thank you
I
so
could not
much.
do that.
Zion,
We're
I
all
have to
friends
ask,
here.
where did you even get that? Where did you even get that figure?
Yeah. So I got at a store in. So I think it's in Washington, in Vancouver,
Okay.
because I think Vancouver's like right on the edge of Oregon, and there's a store there called Double Jump Games, and I just went in, was looking around, whatever, and they had a stack or like a whole wall shelf or a wall full of just these import Donkey Kong TV show figures.
That's
And-
so
Wow.
random and specific.
Wow.
Yeah, I
That
still
is
have
just-
pictures, so I'll send them to you. But they had Diddy, Dixie, DK, King K. Rool, and then there was one of the random Kremlings, like the one who wears like an army helmet,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
they had one of him, and they all came in little like mine carts that they could ride in, and they could
Oh, that's
connect
adorable.
together. And I think they're
That's
supposed to be
awesome.
like a expansive minecart like level thing or a play set that they all go with. But yeah, I think she was like $15, and it's one of the best $15 I've ever spent in my life.
Oh,
Wow.
absolutely. Yeah. Nice.
Well, speaking of Canada, we got Bongo Lover with a $5 Canadian donation saying, my Bug Snacks machine PS5 finally came in. Can't wait to find Danimal strawberry yogurt creatures in the wild. So congratulations on the PS5. That is an accomplishment.
Yeah.
For
Nice.
sure. Axcon with a $5 donation saying, obsessed on Metroid lately. Who could play Samus in a film? Derek Script? Also, what would be your first game recommendation to a young friend or family member? Play Samus on film. I mean, I'm a simple man. I think Brie Larson would probably be just fine.
I mean,
like her.
I think she would. I'm going to throw out Emily Blunt because she already did the Tomorrow, whatever. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh,
but
the
she
one
did
with
that action
Tom
movie
Cruise.
with Tom Cruise. So we know she can. She has action chops, and I feel like she kind of embodies Samus's look pretty well. I don't know. I like her as an actress. I'd throw her out there.
Y'all got me stumped. I mean, Brie Larson was where my mind went to.
Yeah,
I
and
would
I
have
think
also
she's
gone
great,
with
too.
that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. I feel like some people online give her some flack for wanting to play Samus, but yeah, I don't get it either. Is it just politics? What? It
People
just
give
makes
her
sense.
flack
I think it
online
is
for
just politics.
Captain
How dare she
Marvel.
be Captain Marvel and all
Exactly.
that stuff?
It's the usual, the usual corners of the internet saying that shit,
Yeah, true.
Yeah. As first game recommendation to a young friend, something Kirby. Kirby is the easy,
that's a good one. Yeah,
easy
Kirby,
thing to
I
get
think.
into.
Yeah. I mean, I'm biased because I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and that's kind of what I grew up with, like what I started with. So I would probably want to recommend something from that era, but I also recognize that maybe kids today don't want to play something that looks retro and want something that looks, modern. So I'm a little bit biased in that sense. But I mean, I feel like Super Mario World would be a good one, or Mega Man's
you're close. You're close. With my daughter, I started her with Super Mario 3D World, which was really cool because then they re-released it with Bowser's Fury, and she got to play it again. Like, she played it first as like a 4-year-old, and then again as an 8-year-old. So she's already in the remake cycle of life now, and
nice.
she actually remembered some of the stuff. Yeah, she's
amazing.
She's like, why did we? She's like, I already played this, Dad. I was like,
I already
play
have
it again.
It's, right
it's faster. I was like, I don't know. You're gonna do this when you're older. Trust me.
You know what? I'll throw it out there. I would start them early with a Rhythm Heaven game because of the one button input. They're so simple, and it gives you such a simple understanding of the link between pressing a button and listening for the musical and sound cues. And having an understanding of music is a good thing for any kid to have. So I would probably throw that out there as well.
There you go.
Nice. I would probably just say like a Pokemon game. I played through Pokemon Blue on my Game Boy Color earlier this year, and it's very simple, but it's still just a lot of fun to go back to. And I remember who didn't have fun with that game growing up. And maybe I wouldn't say don't give them Blue, but maybe give them Fire Red or just something, one of the Let's Go or games maybe even. But
ooh, that's a solid pick. I had my daughter play Let's Go when she was when it came out, so she was 5 or 6, and she absolutely loves that game.
That's awesome.
But all your recommendations were great too. Yeah, I agree.
Next up is Tzilla with a $10 donation saying, "Hey guys, I love how much you all love gaming, and I'm so thankful for this podcast. It really helps me get through long work days. You guys are the best." Well, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for donating.
Really glad to hear that.
Before also, we continue on, Derek, we did miss one.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
No worries. It's just above AxeCons.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Claire Chikohen with a $5 donation says, "First time here, but TNT keeps me company whenever I can't sleep from my BPD meds. Thanks for always repping mental health and trans rights." Well, thank you.
That's awesome to hear.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad that we can be there for you in that capacity, and thank you so much for letting us know that you are. It makes everything we do here that much more worth it, knowing that we're helping people out there like you. So thank you.
Yeah, it's always a good time. All right, let's get these next three and actually get to the news. So Bongo Lover again with a $2 Canadian donation says Bongo can play Samus. I could see it.
Might need to shave a little.
maybe a little. Mr. One Up with a $2 donation says, "I love every one of you guys. You're all awesome." I'm pretty sure you're awesome as well. So
yes,
$2
you're just as awesome.
Angus Khan with a $7.99 Australian dollar donation says, "I heard Zion is a big Fedora Kong fan. Can we expect a Fedora Kong discussion?" I don't even think I've heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know who Fedora Kong is.
You need to be aware. I'll send you the link, and it's a full read. It's a wiki Kong article. I don't know, but it's a real deep dive, and you.
Oh man,
is this the one that begins? Fedora Kong is a deity with knowledge and power beyond our comprehension.
Yes, that's it.
Oh man,
I'm in.
How does this all fit into the lore of the Great Ape War? Is what I want to know. How does that all fit together?
I have many questions. I've opened a door I can't close.
You can't close.
It's beyond my comprehension. But I
thought you were going to say beyond the pale. I'm like, well, that's not wrong.
I've gone beyond the veil. I am transcendent now.
As long as there's a coconut gun and it fires in spurts, I think we're all going to be happy. It's all good.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
let's go ahead. And just as a reminder, we will read any future super chats in between stories. So if we don't get them the right way, we will get to them eventually. But first up, our first story is a bit of a potpourri, a little bit of everything, because there's just not a lot to say about any one of them, but there's interesting all the same. And first up, this is mainly for Steve. The Lost Judgment intro and theme song has been revealed. So I just wanted to get a quick thought on from you, Steve. What do you think?
So ironically, I've been so busy today that I haven't had time to give this a listen yet.
Oh,
But
no.
one, I will say Judgment soundtrack slaps. So Lost Judgment is, I would not be shocked to hear that this song is a total banger. And to just kind of tie it into my general dorkiness and anime fandom, the theme song is called Rasen, which makes me think of Naruto, which means it's probably great. So those are my quick thoughts about a song I've never heard.
We're good.
Steve, I'm going to go ahead and hype it up for you right now. I did watch it and listen to it. It's badass. You're going to love it. I know you are. And
Well, I mean, it's got a bunch of things I love just in the name. I see Rasen. I see John. John's great. I see Yakitori. That's delicious. Those are all things I enjoy. So Yakitori, by the way, is chicken. Just in case those of you in the chat that don't speak Japanese are hanging out thinking, what is that? It's chicken. We all know how I feel about that. So I will listen to the song sometime tonight. Stay tuned to my Twitter where I say dumb things about dumb things. I'll have opinions on the song there.
Nice.
All right. Next little thing. For anybody who still plays Tetris 99, there's a Mario Golf skin coming to it. Got to get that tie-in available. So now you can have a Mario Golf themed Tetris 99 board. Do any of us actually still play Tetris 99? I think
John is probably so hyped.
Yeah,
for
I'm
this
sure
right
John
now.
is.
Yeah.
John is definitely destroying people while staring at this board as we speak.
I was never good at Tetris 99, so I wasn't playing it that much to begin with. But now it just reminds me of what I've lost, what I've loved and lost, and I can't even look at it anymore because I miss
The
Mario
heartbreak is
35
so
too
strong.
much. I can't play Pac-Man 99 either. It just reminds me of how much I want Mario 35 back. I can't do it.
Wow.
I can't.
But those are different. Those are 99. Mario only got the 35, so.
I mean, that's
not as good.
fine. Just bring it back. I don't care if it's 99 or 35. Just bring it back.
What if
Remember,
they
we're gonna get
delist
Mario
it and
36?
release it every year as like a new iteration?
Yeah.
We get Mario
Absolutely,
36
Mario
this year,
36,
37.
I mean, I
Terrible.
could deal with that. I mean, look, as long as I know it's coming back at all, I could deal with that.
What if it just stops at 42 and then just becomes Mario's midlife crisis and it's just a game about a sad, dejected plumber who found out he wasn't really a great plumber in the first place?
Oh my god.
Someone at Nintendo really isn't liking their job, and they just went off the rails and have created this. They hit enter.
Just to answer Romsky113 in our live audience patron chat, I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize you were not in the producer spread. I am adding your name right now so that it gets in there. I apologize for that, and thank you for letting us know.
Yeah, thank you. And the last little bit just to mention is Danganronpa Decadence has a release date now, December 3rd. I know of the three of us, I'm the only one who's played Danganronpa. Have you tried it, Zion?
Yeah, I started it on PS4, and I just couldn't get into playing it on a console. I think it just felt like a game that I wanted to have to be able to carry it around wherever I was, so I could play it wherever. I didn't want to be tied to a system, and I think a lot of that falls on just being able to play Phoenix Wright on the go anywhere.
Right.
And but I did watch a chunk of the anime of the first series at least, so I'm really excited and glad. This collection is checking all the boxes for me on Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just a little surprised I didn't decide to add Ultra Despair Girls into it as well. But
that was the Vita spinoff, right? Was it a third-person shooter almost or something like that?
I think so. Which I'm like, how does that work for this series? But I mean, I've only played the first one, so I have Danganronpa 1 and 2, but I don't have V3, so I'm like, well, should I get it on Switch still? I don't know. I'm trying to decide on that one.
But you get that new board game thing. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with that either, but that's in there.
I don't know, but oh man, I totally agree with SEA in the patron chat. We need a Zero Escape collection. I have the Nonary games collection on PS4, but I think there's a third game on that. So another collection of that. But I've only played the first one, so there is.
I started the second one and just didn't get. I don't know. Maybe it was because I started it right after 999, and I invested so much. Yeah. They're so taxing on your brain, especially if you play it without a guide, or I guess even with, because there's so many options.
I had to look up a few things for 999. That's for sure.
I probably did too. It was a long time ago, but yeah, that series needs to come to Switch. I'm definitely picking up Danganronpa when it hits the Switch, but also because I don't own any of the other versions on anything else. So
yeah, it makes.
I feel
it makes
like my
sense.
wife and I need to play Danganronpa because I haven't played it myself, but I've heard so many good things from so many people, including my best friend, who just loves it. And my wife and I love playing Ace Attorney together and other visual novel style games. So I feel like it's something I should introduce to her, and maybe we can try it out.
If she's okay with a horror tinged element and some weirdness, yeah, I think she'd dig it.
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
So I played a little bit in front of Amy, and she's now triggered by Monokuma. She is not.
Oh, no.
She hates Monokuma, but she was also so intrigued by the plot. She wikied the rest of the story, and she's like, I hate it. It's just like can't stand.
Fair enough.
But the game's all about despair, so that's
right.
Yeah, not exactly a good thing. Anyway, though, that's a bit of the potpourri. Just a little few things here and there. Just not a lot to talk about, but good to know. So let's move on. Go ahead and move on to our second story, which is kind of the big one. So Nintendo has revealed the Switch OLED, not Pro, OLED.
Right.
That sort of resonated through everywhere. Tuesday, Steve did an update talking about it. He's very excited. And
just a little.
I think it's... Oh, no, wow, a new Switch that Steve is into. I am shocked. Oh, real quick before that.
Yeah, it's so out of character for me.
I know.
Right.
Real quick before we dive into OLED, I did miss the super chat, so I apologize for that. Bongo Lover with the $2 Canadian donation saying, new Donkey Kong game with a new bongo mode. I can actually see that happening.
I
Rather
could.
than get the get the dole.
Yeah.
But we're talking bongo, not...
Oh, that's true.
Right. Although I could see a new Donkey Konga with Bongo as a crossover character. That would actually be incredibly appropriate. Nintendo, that one's free. All right.
I was absolutely thinking DK bongos. I forgot about other bongo.
Yeah,
Bongo, the Danimals monkey.
The Danimals bongo, which is boy. Mickey Saito with 50. I don't know that currency, but
I want to say it's Philippine pesos.
It is. I googled it.
Okay,
Nice.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Philippine pesos. Thank you so much. Says, let your children play Bayonetta. Haha, just kidding. There is that one button mode. It wouldn't be bad if they want to see some action and just like push buttons and have some.
They'll see some action.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm
if
afraid
they're
of
young
exactly what type of action my kids will witness playing Bayonetta.
If they're young enough, I bet enough of it would just like fly right over their heads, and they might not even remember it. They might, want to pick up Devil May Cry after this. What's so bad about that?
What can possibly
I'm more
go wrong?
worried about 15 years down the road when they're like, "Hey, Dad, remember that game you let me play where the girl got progressively more naked as we fought? What was that game?"
You were 3. You were 3. How do you remember that?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Listen, I was tired.
Mohammed...
I had a review to get out. It's your fault.
Mohammed Abakar with a $5 Canadian donation says, thanks to Ash for hyping up Yakuza 7. I got Game Pass to play through them all 0 through 7. So far, I'm on 6. So hyped to try 7. Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah, you really burned through those games, man. Especially considering how big I understand they are in terms of just content. But be excited for Yakuza 7. I've said it many times. I'll say it again. It's such a fantastic game. I can't wait to get back to it and finish it. And I'm going to hopefully do that soon. So fantastic game. Have fun. It's awesome.
Yep. And then finally, Quiet Lion Gaming with a $4.99 donation saying, love GVG and Zion plus Nintendo Life. Really enjoy these discussions. Love you guys. Have a great one. Well, thank you. I hope you have a great one.
Thank you very much.
As well. A lot of love for Zion, which, yeah, I get it.
Of course.
It's so nice.
Oh,
People are you have the best community. I mean, we have a great community too.
I love our community so much.
So, let's talk about this OLED because that was definitely a hot topic of discussion Tuesday. A lot of takes about whether people were into it or not. Well, Steve, we'll start with you. Well, actually, Zion, we'll start with you. We got Steve's opinion on the channel already, so we'll start with Zion.
So, Alex and John and I from Nintendo Life, we did a discussion a week ago. Maybe it got put out this past weekend. I'm not sure, but we talked about how leaks affect the industry, and we mostly talked about how they negatively affect the industry. There were some positives in the video too, and it's it was a pretty good discussion. You go check it out if you're interested. But we talked about mostly. Or we highlighted just how negative they could be. And I feel like the Switch Pro leaks, if you will, is kind of one instance where everybody was set up so much to expect this crazy cool. This Switch is 4K. It could go on the TV and in your hands, and it's beautiful. It has a good screen, and it has, the battery life is through the roof. It just has all the bells and whistles you could ever want. And so this new Switch comes out, right? This OLED, this OLED. What do you want? What is it supposed to be called? I don't know. Why is it called that? But it doesn't. So I was thinking about it, and it doesn't check the same boxes as the Game Boy Advance to the Game Boy Advance SP. This new system is coming out, and it doesn't really. There's not really a lot of reason to get it, and Nintendo is even, some of their representatives. I believe, I'm not trying to bring JC up into this conversation, but he on Twitter, came out and told somebody they asked if you should get the Switch OLED or whatever if you already have a Switch, and JC came out and was like, it's not going to be more powerful. I'm paraphrasing him a little bit here, but he said it's not going to be more powerful, and you should basically, if you don't want it, then just don't get it. And I think that's the biggest problem for me, is that right now it just kind of feels like there's not, I just got a new Switch last year. I got the Animal Crossing edition. It has the better battery life, and maybe there's some other things that's better about it. I don't remember offhand, but I feel no reason really to get the new one unless if I happen to have some extra money sitting around, or there's it's not like the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Advance SP, where the SP had a built-in rechargeable battery and a backlit screen, and the Game Boy Advance the original has a better form fit, but those features were severely lacking from the original, and this new system just feels like I don't want to call it like a rich kid's Switch, but because that's not by any means what it is. But it just feels unnecessary in a way.
It feels like a stopgap, right? It feels like a stopgap, kind of like an intermediary between what we have, the original Switch, and what I do still believe is coming, which is a bespoke Switch Pro that is DLSS enabled for potentially 4K. I do still think that's on the horizon. I don't think this is that. I don't know. I see this as kind of a stopgap measure, personally.
Yeah, I'm getting that as well. I looked at the feature set, and there's some nice things in there, but I've also found that I just don't play my Switch undocked that often. I'm mainly playing docked.
That's kind of where I'm at.
All the advantages to the Switch OLED is in handheld mode. The bigger screen, the still good battery life, better speakers, all of that.
Better stand, at least.
The better stand and the OLED, whatnot. Yeah. It's cool if I was using that more often, but I'm not even traveling anymore. I don't have the advantage of those long train rides to the Nintendo events. So it's not for me. But for the people who do play in handheld mode a lot, I can see this being pretty attractive, having that better screen, better, more real estate. Because, going from the 3DS to the 3DS XL is kind of nice to have a bigger screen and more stuff to see. There is an advantage to that. But Nintendo's also trying to, I guess, make it mix and match a bit here, because they have come out and said in a press release email that the old dock will work with this OLED, and the new dock will work with the old Switch. It's completely interchangeable between all of them. And they can be purchased separately, both the white and black dock. However, it will include no HDMI cable, no AC adapter, and not in a package. It is only available on Nintendo's online store and won't be sold at retail. So you kind of have to go out of your way for this one. But at least it can be purchased separately. So if you really want to have the built-in LAN Ethernet port, Ethernet port, there you go. So I don't hate this. I don't think I'm not seeing this revealed and being super disappointed. It's just well, I'm still working with my Switch. I still enjoy my Switch. So, oh well, whatever.
Yeah. I think that there's not a right or wrong answer to the is this worth it or not, because everybody uses their Switches differently. I will say that I'm a total, and I admit this, a display snob. So
sure.
I picked up an OLED TV right before the Switch came out in 2017, and I've been playing most of my games on an OLED screen, you know, whenever I'm docked, right? And it's gotten to the point where I'm just like, ill. LCDs are gross. Like I don't like how washed out the blacks are on them. I don't like, you know, the color inaccuracy. And I vastly prefer to have an OLED screen on any device that I can. I still have my Model 1 Vita with an OLED screen from 2012, and I never upgraded because I didn't want to get rid of that beautiful screen.
Same. Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah, and so to me, that to me is worth a $50 difference, right? Like, so if I were going to the store, one, it also depends on who I'm talking to. If someone is going to buy a Switch brand new, and I would definitely say, look, if you're looking at the model that we all have, right? We're all YouTubers, so we're not rocking a Switch Lite all the time. So, you know, if you're going to connect it up to the TV and the $50 price hit is not a big difference to you, I would definitely tell people, go spend the extra $50 and get the upgraded dock and the upgraded screen and all that. But I have to say, I have a pet theory about this Switch. One, y'all know I'm super excited for it. I'm definitely going to be there day one. I am absolutely a mark for stuff like this from Nintendo. And if they release a upgraded Switch or a follow-up in 6 months, I'll buy that too. I mean, I'm the worst type of person. But,
you're a monster.
I am. Right. I have a red Mario Switch right behind me. My current Switch is like 5 months old at most. But I'm still going to buy this new one. And I mean, I do benefit from the fact that I have a big family, so my Switch usually makes its way down the line to other people. And I just get whatever stupid thing I'm going to spend money on next. But I have this pet theory, and I think that there was so much smoke surrounding the Switch Pro. Everyone was saying, oh, a Switch Pro is coming, it's inevitable. You know, people claim to have heard from developers that they're working on Switch Pro games and they're updating their stuff for 4K, and that can't all be wrong. It just can't be. Like, there has to be a kernel of truth there. And so my thought is, looking at the PC market, you know, NVIDIA has been struggling to produce products. And I'm sure that difficulty extends to things that don't end up on shelves in stores, right? Like Tegra system on a chip processors, stuff like that. Things that are integrated into other products. And I'm certain that they're like, hey, look, we can't even get our flagship GPUs out the door. We have to focus on these things and shift priorities and whatnot. And Nintendo probably at some point said, all right, we're going to make this brand new Switch. It's going to have an OLED screen. It's going to have a bigger kickstand. It's going to be super dope. It's going to be more powerful. And then NVIDIA was like, yeah, about that more powerful part. We can't make millions of these things for you right now. You're going to have to wait like 6 more months. And Nintendo was like, but we already bought the screens and all the other stuff. Like, we already built it. And so my theory is that they are sitting on just massive amounts of OLED screens and other things that were destined at some point for an updated model, for like a more powerful model, and it's just too difficult to get the actual internals from NVIDIA or whoever their other partners are. And so they're like, okay, look, we can either let these things rot in a warehouse for a year, or we can just start selling them now with the same guts we're already using and make a few bucks and clear out our inventory so that when this shortage ends, we can then drop like an updated, more powerful model, the one that we all expected.
I love this theory.
I like that
love
theory.
this.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying, and I do think it is a stopgap. And I agree. I think what you're saying really does make a lot of sense, Steve. And I'm kind of in the middle on this with you guys. I'm also kind of a display snob, and maybe not quite as much of one as you are, Steve, but I am one. And you and I have the same TV, the LG CX. It's incredible. I love OLED displays. I still have my original Vita because it can't be overstated how gorgeous that screen is compared to the later Vita models that had an LCD screen. So on principle, I want the latest and greatest thing just because I want it, right? And I love my Switch. On the other hand, 98% of my time is spent playing on my Switch in TV, or 98% of the time I spend playing Switch is TV mode. But on the other hand, I'm going to start traveling again. We're going to be going to PAX. We can actually travel again. And I take my Switch with me everywhere when we travel. So it might be worth it. And I do like I do have an Ethernet adapter though for my existing Switch, so I'm not sure I need a different dock. At the same time, though, aesthetically, I love that new dock, and I kind of just want it because it looks cool. And in addition to having a built-in Ethernet port that I don't need to have an adapter for. So I'm kind of on the middle. I'm on the fence, but I kind of want one on principle, but I just know I don't need one at all. It just doesn't fill a niche in my life that I need filled. I just want it.
In the same vein as with Steve's whole thing, I think this also is effective in if I'm tired of pro rumors because eventually it gets really tiring hearing all the rumors and things coming up and you just want it to end. But if Steve's theory is right and a Switch Pro actually is what people expected is coming next year or the year after or whenever, this OLED version also serves to sort of soften the blow. So you got your regular Switch at $300, you got this OLED at $350. They can easily charge $400 for this Switch Pro, and all of a sudden it's not as big of a jump from $300 to $400. It's now you got that middle. It's like, well, looking at what it has from the OLED to this new thing with all the the 4K and all that other bells and whistles. All of a sudden, it's like, well, yeah, I can spend an extra $50 to that. That's worth it. It makes it a little bit more attractive.
Oh, it's definitely a gradual upsell. Right. I mean, but there could also be. I wonder if at some point, I feel like it's inevitable that this OLED model Switch will drop in price and replace the OG at the $299 price point.
Also possible.
And then you get either a next gen or I wonder. This is the biggest thing I wonder now. I do think this is an artificial stopgap product, and I think it's the result of manufacturing delays of some kind. But I wonder if because of that, you can no longer introduce whatever this souped up model is as like an iteration. What if it, because your window for that is almost closing. I mean, we're approaching year 5 of the Switch, right? 2022 will be 5 years since it launched. You're officially in that replacement territory, like from a marketing perspective, where you could say Switch version 2, right? Like not Switch Pro, not Switch, better graphics model. I don't know what you'd call it, but actual like
the new Switch, of course.
Yeah, this is the new Switch. The Super Nintendo Switch. I really just fucking name it Super Nintendo Switch, please.
I know, that's perfect. With a Super Nintendo like color scheme or Super Famicom, I'll take either one, but I would line up for that shit, man. Give me a Super Nintendo branded Super Switch. Oh God, I would still buy that.
Kind of to what Steve was saying too, about it would make sense that Nintendo is kind of releasing this to fill a gap right now, and they have all these supplies. It boggles my mind, and obviously tons of other people out there too, but why would they call it the Switch OLED or OLED or whatever it is? Why would they do that when they have a name that is so snappy and sleek and easy to say, like Switch? Why would they go tack that little thing on at the end? Unless if maybe they do plan on making that the new standard Switch going forward. Maybe one someday. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's just a theory, but maybe someday when they do release a real souped up version, maybe then this OLED version will just replace the standard Switch, and that'll go away because the features are. They don't feel, I think that's why I have such a sort of negative outlook to it, is just because I already have a Switch. If I didn't have one, I think I would feel a lot more optimistic about this. And it's probably great for a lot more people. Like you were saying, if you're on the fence of buying a Switch and you have $300 and $350 and you have some extra money to play around with, the features at that point, I feel like they're important enough. And because I'm a person who doesn't even, I don't know what an OLED screen looks like. I still have an iPhone 7, and I don't think I don't think it has one. And
I don't have any. Well, I think I have the first generation Vita, but that's about it.
Oh yeah, I don't even have one of those. I want one, but I don't.
Zion, I really like and prefer your reasoning as to why Nintendo is calling it the Nintendo Switch OLED, like it's such a plain name. But my possible counterpoint to that, and just playing devil's advocate here, is that we're talking about the same company that has named games New Pokemon Snap and New Super Mario Brothers U and Wii U, just Wii U, period. So I also just don't trust Nintendo to come up with cool or good names for things anymore. I just don't.
You're absolutely right. That's 100% fair. I have no argument.
Oh yeah. Nintendo doesn't name things well at all. Like the Game Boy Advance SP, we love that thing, but that's a stupid name. I'm just gonna point that out. Like Game Boy Advance SP means very little to me. DS Lite, one of my favorite designs Nintendo has ever produced. I mean, I get that it's lighter, but was that where you were going?
Do any of you remember when they released a pamphlet in stores to describe the differences between the Wii and the Wii U?
Yes.
I was at GameStop at the time, and our rep told us that we were supposed to put it on the kiosk and then one on the, I think it was either on the cash wrap or in the Wii section. So that way, you know, if we had to quickly explain, because it got asked often enough, you know? I love that.
Wow. And years later, I like in person was one of those people who witnessed years later in a Target, I think, there were people still years later, even with those pamphlets and Nintendo, they tried to improve their messaging. People are asking, "What's the Wii U?" And Target employees didn't know. They're, it's an add-on for the Wii. Like they didn't know. Even years later, that's just how horrible.
I think, and that might be a reason they wouldn't call it like the Switch successor or even this better Switch, the Super Switch, because is that does it message that it's a new system? We know it because of the Super Nintendo, but does it message it actually? I don't know.
That's a good question, and I think the Switch benefits from the fact that it is like it almost markets itself to a degree. Like most people, gaming or otherwise, know what a Nintendo Switch is now. They hit on like the perfect brand identity for it early on, and I think they could honestly just do what Apple does. Like every year, there's a new product. Like. And I don't want to point to the phone because they've started numbering the phone, but in the early days, it was just like, here's the new iPhone. We threw an S on the back of it. But with the iPad Pro, like, they don't, every year there's a new iPad Pro. And that iPad Pro is just called iPad Pro. Like, Apple's like, yeah, whatever, iPad Pro. It's the one that's out now. Like, I hope that Nintendo drops this kind of weird. I feel like they're almost afraid to phase out products because they don't want to leave a price point abandoned in the Switch lineup at this point. Like they got the Lite at $199, they've got the regular at $299, and now they've got this one at $349. And I feel like they're reaching a point where if we get like a fourth Switch SKU that is active, like we have 4 of different models active at the same time, I do feel like you're going to run the risk of folks that are outside of gaming, like parents walking into a store being like, I want to get my kid a Switch for their birthday or for Christmas or whatever, and the person at Target being like, well, which one? We have 19, and the parent will just be like, well, I guess I'm going to buy nothing. Bye. Because I definitely am that way with other things.
Yes, this is what he wants.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe they'll walk out of the store and be like, I'm not sure, I should go check with someone. That's a great point.
Yeah,
it is. And I do think for that reason, I agree with, and to go back to something you said earlier that I agree with, I do think that when the Switch Pro does eventually become a thing, and I do think it will, that they will phase out the original Switch model and just have the Switch OLED be the main regular Switch model.
I think
they'll have Switch Lite, Switch OLED, and Switch Pro, I think.
If I had to guess, if I were a betting man, I would say that within the next 2 years, I'll just say 2 years because we've been talking about the Switch Pro for like 4 years, but within the next 2 years, we're going to see a redesign to the Switch Lite that will incorporate an OLED display. We will get this current model that's coming out, that $349 Switch, become the standard bearer, like the base model Switch, and then we'll have this updated, at this point I would just call it a next-gen Switch, at a higher price point. Like I think that'll occupy the $349 to $399 space, and so you'll have like your Lite that's mainly for kids, but with the same kind of internals and stuff as whatever that we're used to. But that way, Nintendo doesn't have 2 display technologies that they're producing; they just have one. We have the standard model Switch, which the OLED will probably take that over, and then we'll have some higher end Switch that's more expensive. That, let's face it, folks like us will buy. But,
right. Once they do that version, that's when they got me. But
yeah, I think sticking to 3 models is probably a good strategy, like a low end, a baseline, and then like a high end. And I think that's what they're establishing now, and they'll cycle models through that kind of pipeline, as it were. I'm still hoping someday we just get one that looks like the light but docks. But we're not there yet, Nintendo. Someday, please. I really like how the light looks.
Someday we'll get that, and then they'll take the old version and they'll reduce it by $50 or something. Because I mean that's a very Nintendo move too.
Sure.
And right now they don't even have a SKU that's. I love that you use the word SKU, by the way. Now I'm gonna remember that's a good word to use for a console. And
retail,
but yeah, absolutely. I should be better. I grew up in retail, so I should be better than that, or I should know to use that. But they for the longest time they had the 2DS, and that was $79.99, maybe $89 in the US. And now Nintendo's cheapest SKU is $200. Sometimes it goes on sale, I guess, but that's all retailer specific, and so I could see them trying to cut something to get to a cheaper SKU, but that's going out there. That's not even talking about the OLED anymore.
Yeah,
exactly.
Remember when Nintendo promised us that the 3DS and 2DS would continue to be its own, separate pillar from the Switch? And they were like, "Oh, they're totally not retiring it."
They've done that multiple times. Remember when they said the Game Boy line would continue on despite the DS? It's like, oh, this thing we'll continue this old thing if this thing fails. But usually that thing does not fail in the case of the DS and the Switch, so we didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and move on to our next story.
We have a couple of super chats, actually, Derek. Okay, you got it. Cool.
Before that, Jaden Buck with a $5 donation saying, maybe I'll get the Switch as a backup in case I get lasagna on my primary Switch.
That is an edge case, I hope.
Right. That is a very specific
You living with Garfield?
Yeah. Although one can never eat enough lasagna, so that's a completely fair concern.
I haven't had lasagna in a very long time.
Man,
that sounds like a real problem for all of us.
I'm hungry now.
Yeah. Black Ninja with a $2 donation says Nintendo feeds on people like Steve and Wood from Beat 'em Ups.
Yep, sure does. And they will continue to eat from my wallet for the rest of time.
Yeah.
Tyler Hardy with a $1.99 donation says, my dad works at Nintendo Switch Pro is coming on ...
Looks like the ninjas got him.
Well, there it is. Confirmation right there. His dad works at Nintendo. Switch Pro's coming. You heard it.
The new playground rumor is just chat. Rumor.
Yeah, exactly. My chat told me this, so I automatically believe him. So that's all we need. Thomas Nerds Out 5 with a $5 donation saying, digging the new thumbnail, I laughed at the ones that believed the rumors about Switch Pro when the Switch OLED was announced. The salty tears or tasty. I mean, yeah, it's why the term hype responsibly has come out.
Right.
So,
and thank you for letting us know, by the way, about the thumbnail. We were definitely going back and forth about it today and trying to figure out something new. So we welcome all feedback, and it seems like it's pretty popular. So thank you for that. And really quick, I just want to give Alanad a quick shout out in our live audience patron chat. It's the first time they've been with us in the live audience for quite a while. We haven't seen their name around in a little bit, so we're just glad to have you back and glad to see you here.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And then finally, Miki Saito once again with the 125
Philippine pesos.
I knew the pesos. I was messing up the country. Thank you so much. Saying, do you think the OLED Switch will be successful in Japan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean,
with how handheld gaming focused Japan is, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it's one of those things. Oh, go ahead, Zion. No, yeah.
I just remember hearing the stories about the Dragon Quest series and Monster Hunter, how popular it was on not the DS for Monster Hunter, but like PSP and things like that. I obviously I don't know how much their systems sell over there or how they sell, but from the outside looking in, it feels like their area is very handheld focused in comparison to a lot of us. But
oh yeah, I remember reading about Street Pass statistics for Japan versus the US, and I was like, they always have their DSs with them. They never leave the house without them.
Street Pass, Nintendo. I miss it so much. God, I love Street Pass.
Yeah, Street Pass was utterly fantastic. One thing I wanted to point out, just because this is like the most obscure, nerdy thing about the Switch OLED model before we move on. I love the fact that the dock now has like a half circle cutout for the cables so that you can they pull from the side of the damn dock, and I don't know who designed it that way, but thank you, Nintendo, for just making a little cutout so the cables can actually escape through the bottom of the dock. It's a dumb little thing, but I'm trying to cable manage all this back here, and the Switch is like the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on from Nintendo to Sony for our next story. And Sony has announced a new State of Play coming out tomorrow, Thursday, July 8th. And it has been said that it's going to focus on 8 minutes of Deathloop, some indies, and some third-party games. However, there will be no Horizon, no God of War, and no VR. So, yeah. Deathloop.
All right.
Woo.
I feel like this is Sony just telling you,
bad.
like, hey, you don't have to come if you don't want to.
I feel bad because, like, of course, you know, we're gonna react to this, and I want to be hyped, and I don't want to just be hyped for the states of play that only include like Horizon. That's not fair. It's not, you know, I want to give all games their fair due, but every time they've shown Deathloop so far, I just kind of zone out. I just don't
Maybe
care,
we'll
but
finally
I
learn
also
what the
respect
hell
what
it
they're trying to
is.
make. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe we need to find out more about it, I guess, but I just don't care about it. But I also want to pay respect to the incredibly hard work that goes into games, even ones I don't care about. So I feel bad that I don't care or I'm not hyped for this, but I'm just not.
Does it feel like we've been shown too much? Because I haven't really paid a lot of attention to that game, probably also because it's not coming to a Nintendo platform. But I feel like we've seen it a lot. Is that true?
It does kind of.
It
feel
shows
that way
up
to
about
me.
just about every one of these state of plays or like here's it comes, and I think it's had the effect of not kind of anti-hyping people, at least the people I've seen around our chat and us and all that. Nobody really seems to be getting too into it. And I think it's because they just haven't revealed what the heck it is. It's something about hunting down these like assassins hunting other people to take out a person and a dying aspect. But then they always throw something in there where somebody else is hunting you, the player, as you're going through another thing. And it just ends up confusing. So maybe this 9-minute look at Deathloop out of the 30-minute state of play will finally give us an idea of what the heck this game is.
Yeah, looking from Brandon Bovia in our YouTube live audience chat, his thoughts kind of echo mine in that it's a cool looking concept the first time you see it, but then they've kind of showed trailer after trailer after trailer, and all the trailers are very samey. Like they don't reveal new information, they don't teach you more about the gameplay loop of Deathloop, but and so it's kind of overstayed its welcome already. I don't know enough about this game. I will say though, 8 minutes of gameplay means, I mean, if we come out of 8 minutes of gameplay and still don't know what the hell this game is, then you've got a bigger problem than showing us too many trailers. But I feel like we've seen too much of it at this point. But at the same time, I'm hoping this will answer my questions, because my initial take when we saw the very first Deathloop trailer was, oh man, this looks like it could be cool. Like, you're kind of, you know, there's an antagonist, which seems like maybe they're player controlled and they're trying to stop you from reaching your goal, but maybe it's an AI. We don't really know. They haven't explained that part. But it's got like a 70s vibe to it. It looks like an old like 70s action flick, which I could get behind if the gameplay is interesting, but we haven't seen real gameplay yet. So I'll be interested to look at it, but the fact that it's kind of the anchor for this state of play tells me that this is not going to be one of their better shows. Give me Final Fantasy 16. Give me any of the things you already said you're not showing. those would be more exciting for me at this point.
And that's something else that should be mentioned. Like, even though it's 10 minutes of Deathloop, that's still 20 minutes of indies and third-party games. And I mean, Final Fantasy 16 is a third-party game. We could see more of Kina.
I really hope. Yeah,
there's a lot of good potential there. Like, Deathloop is kind of a sour thing, and I think that's probably why they mentioned that it's 9 minutes of that. But that's still 20 minutes of other stuff that could be potentially good. We don't know.
I will put one prediction out into the universe that I'm hoping for from this, and it's going to be the dorkiest thing because it's me. So of course it's going to be. Please,
Triple
Sony,
Triad is in. Oh, sorry.
give me information on how to upgrade the storage in my PlayStation 5. It is summer now. You said you would do it in summer. I'm out of space. I've been out of space since November. I need.
They have until September, so.
Right.
Don't
I
tell
feel like
me
they
that.
probably won't do that just because these states of play seem to be mostly or all focused on games, but you never know. It is possible, and I really, after FF16 was a big fat no-show at Square's horrifically bad E3 presentation, that's the third-party title I really hope we get to see a little bit of here during this state of play.
I will say I have reason to believe this, and that's because end users have been beta testing a new firmware for the PS5 for a couple of weeks now. And it is it's being dubbed the PS5 summer update. So I'm hopeful. I mean, like, if you're already beta testing an OS, then you could announce that you're releasing it soon. And they have to give people... The reason I think it'll happen at a state of play is because the type of drive the PlayStation 5 uses is stupid expensive. And they already said, like, you have to get one that's off of their approved list or else it just won't work. So you're talking about, like, I'm pretty technologically savvy. I think I would be okay. But I think you are definitely going to have to, like, get on your loudest, loudspeaker and tell people about, like, where you go to buy one of these drives and how you install it and all that other stuff. And they did previously in the final PS5 pre-release state of play. I think they did show you where to put the drive and how to install it. And then they said, oh, we'll be publishing a list soon. And then they're like, by soon, we mean like 8 months from now. But
right. As State of Uplay Notakami points out rightly in our live audience patron chat, in their PlayStation blog post, Sony does point out, though, that updates on the big games like God of War and Horizon Forbidden West are coming later this summer. So they haven't forgotten. We are going to eat later on for those of us who are looking forward to those games. But I may not be into Deathloop, but I'm always looking forward to seeing more indie and third-party titles. So we'll see what happens, and we'll be reacting to it. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll be there tomorrow.
After that 9 minutes of Deathloop, we'll just know what the hell it is.
State of Plays have also been getting consistently better. They started out pretty bland, and I feel like they have been slowly but surely, like, cribbing stuff from Nintendo Directs, like to the point where it's almost like a blue Nintendo Direct at this point. Like
at first, I thought it was really, really close, and I don't know if I watched the last one, but I thought that they were starting to kind of create their own identity for it. But do you feel the opposite, Steve?
I feel like it is honestly very, very Nintendo Direct-like, because they have the thing that it strikes me the most is the transitions from game to game. They definitely do the whole Nintendo, like, here's a blue window with a white background with some information, and then we're going to do the wipe, and then we're going to show the game. And I'm like, you guys just changed the name on the homework on that one. Like,
it's hard to mess with that solid presentation.
I mean, it's very difficult to fault them for copying what is clearly a winning formula.
Totally.
But I do wonder if now that Nintendo is back to general directs, if they're going to try to, like, shift the presentation a little more, like, off-center from Nintendo, just because in the absence of directs, it wasn't as egregious, but now it's like, well, Nintendo's been doing this for a decade before you started them, and it's very clear that you have taken some notes. So I'm hopeful, but honestly, if they could get, like, half the hype of a direct, especially the last one, into a state of play, I would be over the moon about it. I'm not super optimistic about tomorrow, though.
One thing that would send my hype really high, though, is what Corin State of Flakes here is saying in live audience patron chat. Another Kena trailer. Kena is like
I don't know.
Game that I am
coming out
more
August,
excited for than anything on PS5. I'm more excited than any other indie game. Like, oh man, I want to play, or I want to see more of Kena, let alone play it. And maybe we'll get another trailer.
I am worried about Kena.
Don't say that. Why?
I was talking with a group of friends, and I won't name names, but one of my friends has played Kena and has had significant hands-on time with it, and said that it's one of those games that looks great, but the gameplay isn't really there. So,
it's not that surprising, considering that the thing they were known for before was a Majora's Mask, movie type thing.
Yep.
So they have the animation there. They just need to
Yeah.
learn the gameplay. And that's the thing. I am one of those weird people that I can forgive a game if it tells a good story. If Kena has a good story, yeah, maybe the gameplay will be but I still feel like I'd be into it.
Well, and same, and also it's important to note that quality gameplay or impressive gameplay means different things to different people. I've said before, I don't need a game to innovate. Like if Kina plays it safe in the gameplay department and it just plays like a bunch of other games I played before, but it does it well, I'm okay with that. But if the gameplay is fundamentally not fun and broken, that's a different thing. And I wonder, Steve, what your friend is more talking about.
Yeah, the impression I got in our short conversation about Kino was that it was similar to like a Balan Wonderworld type of situation, where it was like, I mean, not in terms of just like being over the top, corny and bad level design, but in terms of like the physics and like the feeling of movement and jumping and stuff like that. That it all felt pretty bad. And I'm hopeful, but I don't know where this build was played or how it was played. I just know that the impression was that it was a beautiful game that played fairly poorly. And that is super disappointing to me, because Kina is top of my list in terms of games I want to personally check out. So,
right.
I mean, I would love to be wrong on this one, but I mean, it does kind of make sense when you think about the background of the developers,
This is their first game.
Yeah,
so.
first game. And that could mean that some of those growing pains are going to be apparent in the final product. But I mean, I've also played games going in knowing they were bad and still had a good time. So I mean, don't let my I've not touched it. I've not played it. I've not seen it being played. So I could.
We don't want to preemptively take the wind out of their efforts. I mean, again, as you said, Steve, we don't know what that build was dated as. We don't know when or where it was played. So we don't want to quell any potential hype, because we've never haven't seen the final build. So we don't want to take the wind out of anyone's sails in terms of the developers.
I'm just trying to remind folks to come in with grounded expectations. If it's a developer's first time out, it probably won't play like Zelda. That's
what were you gonna say? You look like you were about to say something, Zion. What was that?
Oh, I was gonna say, I was gonna say like 4 things, and then I just like, what brains do.
Yeah.
And where was I going with this? I guess, yeah. So you're absolutely right. It's their first game, so expectations should be a little grounded. But it does feel like a lot of people were sort of hyping this up as the Zelda of PlayStation, or Breath of the Wild, or even just this this epic adventure. And I think if some of us try to temper those expectations, maybe it'll be fine, because for me it is I still don't own a PlayStation 5, and it's one of the games on my list that when it launches, and if it's a solid title, it might cause me to finally go pick one up, because I'm very impressed with the animation, and even I think the person who did the soundtrack for the Majora's Mask video is doing the soundtrack for this game as well. And so it has like a great team behind it. It's just hopefully the gameplay's fine. At the end of the day, if not, then we'll have hopefully a great soundtrack and a good story that we can watch on YouTube. And but hopefully it's all good.
Yeah,
we'll see.
And just as a reminder, it's a budget title. I think it's $30 or
that sounds right. It's 30 or 40. Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be a pretty short game as well. And they haven't said that, but it has the feeling of like a 4 or 5 hour game. So
yeah,
we'll see. Before we move on, we got another donation from Bongo Lover with a $2 Canadian donation saying, "I feel like Balan could have done well as a show." Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would have done far better as a show.
Yeah, and just based on the FMVs in the game alone, those FMVs were gorgeous. Like the production values on those were so.
I love your optimism.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that I did think those FMVs were really nice compared to the rest
FMVs
of the game.
are really well done in Balan.
Yeah.
First off, comparatively is a really low bar to clear. I mean, like, no disrespect to Yuji Naka or his team, but that game was real bad. Like, I have played
the
universe. The gameplay is not great. We're just talking about the
but when I think of the full motion videos in that game, I think of the farmer dance, and I'm like, that was full motion video,
that was awesome,
and I was
though.
very confused.
But then there were the cinematics that were designed by, I think those were designed by Square in-house, right?
I was actually talking more about the intro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because those were also full motion video, and I was like, I didn't understand what the impetus for them dancing was, or the result. Right. Like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
none of us do.
Story, it was communicated so badly. But I did like the intros at least. I thought they were well produced.
Zion, you say none of us do, but we do know
the
that
story?
at least Yuji Naka knows what is going on in those videos. And I really wish I could have been a fly on the wall when they were storyboarding this game, because they're like, look, he's going to go through the farm level. He's going to get some power-ups. Some of them will do good things. Most of them won't. They'll fight, I think. And then at the end, dance, corn, children, farm things. Like, somebody had to draw this out as an idea, and I refuse to believe hard drugs were not involved.
It's like they tried to make it like a stage play, right? But then it just got so weird, and I don't want to say detached from that idea, but it felt like they lost whatever the original pitch was.
It's like a stage play crossed with a fever dream or something. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah. Although Jet Set here in live audience chat with the Galaxy Brain take here, and I would watch this in a second. Balin played by Tommy Wiseau. Fuck yeah, I'd watch that. I would watch the hell.
Yuji Naka, you're tearing me apart.
Right? I would be so down for that.
I'm done with this world. This wonder world.
This wonder world.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, let's go ahead and actually move on to the next story, which let's get a little cozy. So, Bloomberg actually got the chance to view a secret Nintendo cafe located in Tokyo that is loaded with classic memorabilia. It's known as 84 and is run by a former Nintendo employee, and it is filled with awesome memorabilia, to the point that somebody offered this person $100,000 for one of the items in the cafe, and he refused because it's for the whole. It's for the aesthetics. It's a game to actually try to find this place, locate this cafe, and actually experience it. And it's like, watch the video. It is fascinating. This place looks amazing, and I'm so sad that I probably will never find it.
I'll find it.
I want to go. Me too. This is the first thing on my itinerary when I get to go back to Japan again.
I am going back to Japan. I say back, but I've never been. I'm going to Japan for the first time next year, and this is now top of the list. I feel like this has to be, if I make only one video while I'm in Japan, this is the video. Like, the hunt for and a tour of 84.
Well, that's the thing, is that they opened it up to the public, and you're more so than before, and you're allowed to go, but the big stipulation is you cannot reveal where it is.
Right.
I mean, that makes the video better. No joke. This is like a YouTuber's dream. Like, right? Are you kidding me? This has 1 million views written all over it. I'm not even being cynical about this.
I feel so bad though. Like, kill the magic. I don't know.
I really hope people will play nice, right? I mean, most people probably won't. Someone will spill the beans. But I think I was reading this too. He did say that he's considering moving to a different location because the business isn't profitable at the moment, and he wants to maybe move to somewhere that's has cheaper rent or just in a different district. But then he said he would restart the game, right? Like, it would be a brand new location, and everybody would have to find it all over again. And that sounds like a pain to move everything, but that could keep it interesting.
I will find this place, whether it's where it is now in Shibuya or he's moved it by the time I get to go back there, hopefully next year. I will find this place. I've been to several video game themed cafes in Japan, and it's such a great experience. I've been to the Capcom one. I did miss the Kirby one, unfortunately. I've been to a couple of Square Enix ones, but I want to go to this one so much. And it looks so cool. I'm watching the video right now, and it just looks awesome.
Did I read right too that this guy used to work for Nintendo, and that's kind of how some of this started?
Yes. Yep. That actually is where he gets the name, because he started in 1984, so that's why it's called 84.
I am absolutely finding my way to this. Like, this, I feel like this has a collaboration written all over it. Let's just go to Japan, everybody. Everybody to Japan. Obviously for work.
Can we just do a big Nintendo Life Good Vibes Gaming Japan trip?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes,
Let's
we can.
do it.
Oh, man, that name even means more. Well, it's pronounced Hashi because that's just 84, but it's also the combination of the fact that it's the year he joined the Nintendo, and also a reference to the final stage of Super Mario Brothers.
And also his name is Hashimoto.
Oh, that's right. Wow,
right.
That's a good name.
Really good wordplay. Yeah. So Alex is totally cool with footing the bill for this trip, right? We can assume that Alex is going to foot the bill.
Well, I think we might have to talk to Damo and Ant about it, and Daz at the end of the day. But I mean, if Alex wants to, I'm not complaining.
All right, cool.
I feel like this is obviously what has to happen. But yeah, this looks so cool. Like, this to me now has become something that I want to do more than Super Nintendo World. I want to find the secret Nintendo cafe. They also mentioned that Miyamoto visits this cafe. How dope would it be if you just ran into Miyamoto at a random cafe in Japan?
Right.
So basically, Steve's going to be camping out outside and just watching for Miyamoto to come in and casually saunter in. Whoa! Miyamoto-san, didn't expect to see you here.
I already had that experience once in my life when I was working for Nintendo Life. Damien was super jealous. Like, I was nice. In our I don't know if they still have this, but Nintendo Life had a Slack server at the time where staff would congregate and talk about things similar to our Discord server. And I was kind of like sending them updates from E3 throughout my trip there, and I was like, guys, I just ran into Miyamoto in a hallway and took a picture with him. Like, I was just walking by, and then like hours later, I'm like, guys, I just ran into Eiji Aonuma in a hallway and took a picture with him. I was having the best day of my life. But
that's
awesome.
I mean, obviously you all know about that, but that's when people come out here and like hate on E3, you know, memories like that will just never be able to shroud it in darkness forever. You know, like, it's so many good things come from that. I met Aonuma last year as well, and that was probably, I've never met Miyamoto, but that was like, it's just such like a defining moment in my brain now, even though I barely remember it because it happened so fast, and my face looks like someone just punched me, or I got stabbed in the arm because I don't know what's going on with my face. It's a lot, but E3 is just so good.
Oh yeah,
good for things like that.
My pictures with Aonuma Miyamoto are now like entirely unrecognizable because I have like no facial hair. I feel like I'm somehow a foot shorter in the photo.
Who is that guy?
I'm smiling like a bullfrog. I'm like in the pictures for some reason because I'm too happy that it actually happened. I'm like, I can't fix my face. It's just doing this.
Well, we could Photoshop your new face onto your old body, and it would still it's still you.
There we go. I'll be like, fine. Look at this rugged. Yeah. 50-pound heavier, handsome man.
I was reading more of the article that Bloomberg has here. It's apparently that he serves draft beer and homestyle cooking from onigiri and sautéed burdock to the occasional half bowl of Kyoto ramen. And it basically became a hideout for a lot of creators where they used it to play board games, develop product proposals, or even share common concerns with employees at rival companies. So it's just like, it really is just like going to a place to unwind and just, you know, talk crap about your bosses.
That makes me feel like I shouldn't find it, but I'm gonna find it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like hanging out in your friend's basement or like something like that.
Pretty much. He opened the spot just for friends because they would be more forgiving if he made mistakes about the cafe. Like, the guy,
nice.
The guy's a good interview.
So I wonder then if he's just finally like gained enough confidence to finally open it up to the public, or what the exact reason is that he's decided that now is the time. It's not. I mean, it's not a hideout anymore. Now it's a real cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder as well. But
I mean, honestly, it probably has a lot to do with. He said it wasn't profitable, right? I mean,
sure.
You got to make it work. It's only your buddies can only come if it's still open. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice feel-good story. And just seeing that video just makes me happy. But before we move on to our final story of the day, we got a $5 donation from Jaden Buck, who says, "Hey, Steve, thoughts on rotisserie chicken? Because I'm eating some right now."
I mean, chicken is objectively at its best form when it's fried. However, rotisserie chicken is good. I mean, it's still chicken at the end of the day. So I will tell you this: my favorite use for rotisserie chicken is making enchiladas, because it's way easier to do that than to actually like prepare the chicken the right way. But hey, it's chicken. It's good. As long as you like it, that's what matters.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then Black Ninja with a $2 donation saying hashtag fried chicken Friday. So apparently they're on the same wavelength.
Apparently
every Friday.
I will say National Fried Chicken Day was yesterday, Tuesday, July 6th. For me, it was just another Tuesday. I mean, I eat chicken every day, so, you know.
Was that also...
like, you have the one strap going up the
Oh,
side.
I know exactly which Andre the Giant wore.
Yes!
Do I
Apparently-
dare Google this? Or
No.
do you think that's dangerous?
All you
will
would have
see.
to do is
Close
look up
that
Andre
browser.
the Giant's wrestling uniform, and there you go.
You're
Yeah,
right.
I would
That's-
probably
I think
say he's
classic
the only one that
caveman.
wore it without it being really terrifying to look at.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Sure. All right.
Joe in our YouTube chat saying chicken is overrated. I don't think I've ever seen anybody say that.
I don't
Yeah,
even
that's quite the take.
lost
Joe.
a little
hey,
faith in
fair
humanity just now.
enough. Exactly. Hey, you know what?
Well-
It takes all kinds, right? But man, I can't agree with that. Chicken's pretty delicious.
Maybe he's a vegetarian or a vegan. Maybe could be that.
Well, then
but
you
then
could
there's
just say meat is overrated, right? Just
True.
meat in general, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Well, let's lose a little bit of more faith in humanity with our last story.
All right.
gotta love that.
Yep.
Oh man,
A new report has come out
Oh, yeah.
that Assassin's Creed going forward is looking to be a live service game. Ubisoft Montreal and Quebec have teamed up for Assassin's Creed Infinity, and this comes from Jason Schreier. And it's planned to have multiple settings. But he also mentions that after the reorganization, there are still several men accused of the abuse from earlier that are still there. So
and in positions of authority as well, not just still there, but
Right.
also in charge of other folks, I guess, in charge of projects. Which
Mm-hmm.
are any of us really surprised that Ubisoft didn't come through on this?
yeah, I mean, they spoke to a spokeswoman. They said they had the case rigorously reviewed by a third party and were either exonerated or underwent appropriate disciplinary actions. I don't know what that means.
I mean, what do you deem an appropriate disciplinary action for being
Right.
a sex pest at work? Like, I thought the
I mean-
appropriate disciplinary action was getting fired.
I
But-
saw a story where these people like got bulldozed some rare endangered trees, and they were fined $18,000. They're already rich. They don't. $18,000 is a drop in the bucket. So, what's appropriate?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's really tough to make a call on this. I'll talk about the easy part first. Assassin's Creed going to a live service model. Why? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Destiny is not a bad game, but as things go more and more to live service models, I'm like, why did Destiny have to exist? Why did this happen? I'm sure it would have happened. Progress is inevitable. We are on this death march towards everything being a live service game that we subscribe to and gets updated, and we have to follow the community manager on social media to find out when new stuff's coming out. We have to buy Mountain Dew and Doritos and 5 gum to make sure we get all the DLC for everything. We're in the worst timeline is what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is just, I don't even, I don't play Assassin's Creed myself. This doesn't affect me personally as a player or fan of the series, but just what it means in an overall sense is just depressing to me. I don't like the idea of major series becoming live service type deals. I just, this could eventually happen to other series. Who knows? It's just the general trend and shift into live service bothers me. This is definitely me having my old man yelling at the sky moment, or maybe we all are. But it's just, this just kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
The thing that bugs me is, one, this is horrible for preservation, because when they wind down the servers for these games, you'll never play them again. And I have every Assassin's Creed, every single one. And
Steve, this game is gonna. Did you read the title? It's gonna be forever.
Well,
Yeah,
obviously,
Assassin's Creed Infinity. It's never gonna go away.
It'll probably go over about as well as Dunder Mifflin Infinity. That's an Office reference for those of you that are too young to realize it. But I don't want this. I'm a huge fan of the series, and I am put off by this in a major way. I feel like it's going to... I like to play these games at my own pace. Assassin's Creed is one of those series where I used to grind every year to beat every game so I'd be ready for the next one. And over the years, I've kind of slowed down, and I've just realized that I'd rather just take my time with them. And I don't know. Now I feel like I'm going to have to go back to rushing them if I want to experience all the content in a live... who knows what's going to happen, what they're going to patch out, what they're going to remove over time, and then I'm going to be left with, half the story or a third of the story. I really enjoy... I think self-contained AAA games can definitely exist. Rockstar proves it. They don't have to come out every year either. You can still be profitable and release a game every so often. And I wish Assassin's Creed. I feel like Ubisoft took the wrong lessons from why Assassin's Creed wasn't working, and now we're getting, I mean, we're gonna get Ubisoft's take on the Avengers. Essentially, it's gonna be a live service game that probably will have some really weird non-Assassin's Creed like things shoehorned onto it, and at the end of the day, it'll probably be something that's worse for it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, yeah, I completely agree with that take.
Yeah, I mean, Square himself says that details on it are still in flux and won't be out until 2024 or later. But he says it may be some sort of hub that allows people to play multiple Assassin's Creed games, both big and small. Or he says Ubisoft may say screw it and give up the chase and give up the chase the next trend 3 years from now. So it is still very much in flux and seeing how it all can go. But I didn't realize Destiny and Division were just that popular, that these live service games are such a thing, but it's never held my interest at all.
It's just not, yeah, personally for me. I get why some people, really enjoy them, but it's just, yeah, that's not how I prefer to kind of interface with and consume gaming content. But, and it was the live service element that, in my opinion, and I think Steve would probably agree with this, tanked Avengers' potential. I think that, as I've said, there is a good game inside Avengers, but the live service aspect of it just completely smothered it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like Avengers could have been something far better than what it turned out to be if only they hadn't tried to chase that live service model. Because I think the core gameplay was pretty good. They just bolted way too much onto it at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And Guardians of the Galaxy may end up being the what could have been in terms of what Avengers could have been. They're focusing on single player. They're not making it a live service game. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you played much Assassin's Creed or?
I played 1 and 2. I loved 2, and then I played I beat Brotherhood, I think, and then I did some of 3, and just I think them releasing a game every year sort of burned me out. And then this doesn't make me want to play the series anymore. This sounds awful. But it does sort of fall in line, because didn't Ubisoft recently say, maybe it was a different company, but I thought they came out and said that they were going to be shifting a lot of their AAAs into not potentially live service solely, but I thought they said something about like just dipping their toes into that a little bit further. I should go look that up and find out where it was now. But if so, this would kind of fall in line with that. And I don't know. I don't like to see it. For preservation, absolutely, because we go back and I've heard that there's ways to play the Satellaview games from the Super Famicom days, but it's not easy. And as the years progress, if people want to go back and play Destiny or, Destiny 2 or, the Division or even this Assassin's Creed game, it's not going to be as easy as just going to a pre-owned store and picking it up off the shelf and popping it in your system or even digitally downloading it on an online storefront. So it does kind of... I feel very much how you guys do about just feeling like the old man yelling at the sky and like wishing that this wasn't happening.
It feels like this happens more and more.
Yeah. As long as Zelda doesn't go down this route, I think I'm fine.
But, if Nintendo starts doing this, that's it. I'm out of gaming.
We have us, but 2, it's like,
that would be the most depressing thing. That's a live service Zelda. Oh God, I don't want to think about that.
Well, let's go ahead and end things off. But before that, we did get a few more super chats. First up from Zaire Miller with a $4.99 donation saying, finally finished Chainsaw Man. And it's probably one of my favorite manga I've read. Really excited for the anime. Hopefully the anime staff is treated well. We can only hope for that. And that's awesome. Congrats.
And thank you so much.
Manga. Thank you. And then Black Ninja with a $5 donation saying, hey all, have you heard No More Heroes 3 is getting a limited edition with a vinyl by Pix and Love. Only 500 pre-orders live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. Figured Steve would want. Steve, what'd you want?
Yeah.
I took a look at this, and yes, I do want. It's signed by Suda51, which automatically makes it super cool in my book. I really like what they've included in that collector's edition, and I will say, I did take a look at... and Skull Kid Tiger did tag me on this, so I saw it earlier today. I took a look at eShop screenshots and some videos Marvelous has posted since E3 for No More Heroes 3, and I do have to say it's looking far better than it did at that Treehouse segment.
That's good. They used an old demo, it seems.
Yeah, I knew something had to be up. Like, it seemed far too unpolished for a game that Nintendo was kind of somewhat backing. And for Bill Trinan to come out after on his personal Twitter and be like, yeah, we used an old demo. Like, that to me, I don't think Bill is very careful with his words, and I don't think he would say that if it were not accurate. So for him to come out and say, like, yeah, we used an old demo was kind of implying, like, yeah, we know it's rough. We know it looked bad, but it's not what the game's going to look like. So reading between the lines was helpful there. But I'm glad to see, like, if you look at the Japanese and US eShops now, the screenshots that are officially available are way better than what we saw in that Treehouse segment.
That's good to know. That's definitely good to know.
Cool. And this is still a Switch exclusive too, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. But with that, I think we've covered all the major headlines from today's news. But before we sign off, Zion, pretty sure everybody knows where you can find you at, but why don't you go ahead and remind us just the same?
Sure. So I can't remember. I kind of blanked out when you guys first introduced me, so I don't even remember. But yeah, so my name's Zion. I do videos for Nintendo Life along with Alex and John. You can find me on Twitter, which is where I post most often these days, just at ZionDude. I also have a YouTube channel with like a couple like really old things, and I would love to post more stuff there. Like sometimes I like to get a little artsy and weird, and I'll put up something there. I'm also in a band called Constance, and we have a show to announce soon too that we're playing in Wisconsin at the end of this month. And so, I wouldn't expect anyone to fly out for that, but if you're in Wisconsin, feel free to look forward to it. It's an outdoor show, and that's about enough from me, I think.
Awesome. Well, it was a
Thank
true
you
pleasure
so
finally
much
having
for
you
being
on.
here, man.
Yeah,
seriously,
Great
thanks for inviting me. Yeah, me too. This was so chill. I don't know if anyone noticed, but I've been drinking out of 2 waters this entire time because I've been filling this one with water, and
Nice.
Occasionally I would like, oop, I don't want to show that one. And I don't know why I said that, but this has been a ton of fun, basically for me too.
I'm glad.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so
course.
much.
We'll
And
get you
just
back
for our
more here.
viewers, I would like to just tease one of our upcoming guests next week. A week from today, we're going to have one of my best buds in the industry on, Matt Papa from Inti Creates. So look forward to that.
Nice.
I love that guy. He's going to come on and talk about the news with us and talk, I'm sure, about Blaster Master 03 since that's coming out soon. So look forward to that. Zion, it's been such a pleasure again. Would love to have you back anytime, man. Seriously.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, before we sign off fully, we would have to give a special thanks to all of our patrons, big and small. It's your support really means the world to us. We really appreciate it, and helps us keep the lights on. But of course, we've got to give a special thanks to all of our patrons at the producer tier, as this show just would not be possible without all of you. And finally, a massive, massive thank you to all our executive producers and above, and that includes Jared Edinger, Brandon Bovia, Rob Arman X, Itiono Ben, Dan Antwistle, Dennis J, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Adam O'Sullivan, It's ATM, Octopuppet, Richard Herrera, Michael Phone, Aiko Carroll, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Kitty Kong Facts, Angel Martinez, Vedran Hotik, 112, John, Joshua Hunter, Evernight Studio, Benny Yao, Emerald, Azran127, Ken Roulette09, Pagrama, Jake Pelka, Geller, Shiny Turkey, Joseph Reckon, Charlie Bird, Geeky Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Kyle, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Doug Shumix, Andrew Medeiros, RMM, Sakuragi, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Fizzy Wakehoid, Critmonger, The Legend of Groose, Eddie B, Kai Ed, Kit Fisto, West Egg, Deaneth, Coda, Michael McCall, Matthew Wong, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Justin Matthews, Hoobie, Wolf X Blake, Moon Macarons, Mega Conrad, Ascaron 809, Kane, Captain Finlandia, 60 Minutes and 60 Seconds, Christopher Masterson, Spicy Pandaughter, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Grantles, Ravelox, Synchro Lord, Brainchild, Rosa Bowling,
Hi, Mom.
Kotar Peck, Scuff196, Skull Kid Tiger, AJB Cool, Blizzica, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Phantom Project, Cystic Warrior 29, Derek, Jeff Ed, Ray Clausen Jr., Nathan the Voice Actor, Hulkamaniac 55, Chibi J, Bongo Lover, Mumbling Yeti, and Cameron Sharp. We are, believe it or not, I believe we're only 5 executive producers away from 100.
Nice.
That's insane.
You are a champ. That was a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot.
Incredible,
It is amazing.
It's incredible.
Having so much support. And remember that you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/gvgaming, where you can get access to our exclusive post show and ad-free content for as little as $5 a month. Thank you all so much for watching. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to Good Vibes Gaming for more good times like these. So until next time, good night and good vibes.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good night.
See ya.